B. Dalton or somebody like that. And I walk into that little mall bookstore, and I walk up to the counter, and I say, "Hi, I'm Anthony Robbins." And the person just stares at me like, "Who's that?" And I said, "I'm the author of the book for the book signing today." And all of a sudden, I see this person stop and go into like stark fear. And in that moment, I know that there is a problem. She said, Mr. Robbins, let me get the manager for you. And the manager comes out, and he's a young man. And he said, "Oh, Mr. Robbins," shakes my hand. And he's like, "Oh, I'm so glad you're here. You know, I read your book. It's fantastic." And he said, "I guess you didn't hear it, did you?" And I said, "Hear what?" He said, "I guess you didn't hear about what happened with the advertisement about your signing." He said, "The ad comes out tomorrow. We screwed up." And he said, "It's not there." And he said, "I'm so sorry." I say, "Listen, it's okay." Because I thought, hey, I've been friendly all day. I got to stay friendly here too. I said, "Look, I'll sign a couple books for you, but I can't stay for tomorrow. I'm flying out tonight." He said, "Oh, no. He said, "I want you to still go up there and sign the books." He said, "People just see you, and they'll just come up and that'll help us sell books and stuff." I said, "You know what? I really don't think so. Nobody knows who I am. If I sit up there, I'm going to be sitting by myself like Santa." He said, No. I mean, really, people recognize you. You know, I've seen you on the news once before, and other people see you." And I said, "No." He said, "But please, Mr. Robbins," he said, "I'm the one that screwed up." And he said, "It'll make a big difference. If I don't sell these books, I'm going to be in big trouble." And I thought, oh my gosh, heartstrings, right? So I said, "I'll tell you what, be nice, be warm, be flexible, be loving, right? Be focused. All right, here we go." So I said, "All right, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'm not sitting up in that silly chair, but what I'll do is I'll go out there and I'll sign a bunch of books, and I'll be clearly present. And if people come up, I'll be happy to sign books for them, and I'll do that." He said, "Oh, thank you so much." So now I make the long walk to the center of the mall, right? I look up at this big throne, all these books. It's now 2:00, which is the time of, the signing. And there isn't a single soul waiting in line, not a single person. So I'm like, oh my God. So I picked up a book and I started signing a couple of them. And I thought, man, I got to do something else. Nobody's here. Be playful. What could you do? Be outrageous. Have some fun. All right. So I picked up a book and I pretended I was on Wheel of Fortune. And I started making bizarre noises like, huh? Oh my God. Oh. I start making these noises like a total idiot, right? But I'm exaggerating it. And sure enough, people walking by and they hear me go, huh? And I'm looking at it going, huh? And I'm making these gestures as I'm reading the book and I'm turning the page. Whoa. And so sure enough, pretty soon I got 2 or 3 people. They come over to look at me and then they pick up the book and they start reading through it. And they start, oh yeah, this is interesting. They start talking and pretty soon I got 3 or 4 people. And this one woman, I'm, whoa. And I look at her and she looks at me and she says, is this author coming? And I said, I guess so. And I said, you know anything about him? And she said, no. I said, oh my God, he's amazing. I said, you should read his book. He's an amazing man. I mean, he turns around people's phobias and he's helped sports teams and he does this and he does that. And I started telling her all these incredible stories about this guy, Tony Robbins, right? Anthony Robbins, the guy in the book. And she said, really? She said, I wonder if he could help me with my insomnia. I said, oh, no question about it. And I started talking about how he would do that. No. She goes, wow, that's amazing. And as we're talking, she starts talking to a friend and people come around. And pretty soon we got maybe 10 or 12 people gather around. We're all talking about this author and how incredible he is and everything else. Gradually, it takes about 15 minutes. We got about 20 people there, right? Maybe 25 max. I don't know exactly how many because there's people around it. And then pretty soon they start dwindling because it's now about 2:15. He hasn't shown up. And that's the crowd, man. That's it, 25 people. So I realized I was losing my audience. And people are talking, yeah, he's supposed to be here. I guess he's not here. Maybe he's going, oh, I don't know. Who is he? I don't know. And they start to break off. So I'm losing momentum. So I say to the woman next to me, I said, you know the best thing about this guy? She said, what? I said, he is so handsome. She said, really? I said, yeah, look at the picture inside the book. She opens the book. She sees this black and white picture of me. She looks at it and she goes, oh, he is handsome. But she doesn't say squat to me. She doesn't make the connection. I'm thinking there, who am I, chopped liver? And she goes, he's handsome. I said, you see those high cheekbones he's got? And she goes, yeah, he's a very handsome man. I said, do we notice anything unique about him? And she still doesn't get it. So finally I pick up a book and I said, you notice anything unique about him? I put the picture next to my own face. She goes, oh, I can't believe it's him. And they all start laughing. And all of a sudden we had the greatest time. And I signed all these books. And all these people were giggling with me, and I just had the greatest time because I was being me, and they say, hey, go sit up in your chair up there. I go, I ain't sitting in that throne, forget it, right? Oh, no, come on. And they tease me, so I went up, sat in the throne, right? And I started signing books, and I got this little dwindling crowd of 10 or 12 people. And then right at but I'm having a good time. Do you follow me? I'm being myself. I'm living by my code of conduct. It's giving me joy. I'm remembering what's my ultimate outcome is to enjoy my life, to care about people, to connect, to give, to be the real me. And so then all of a sudden what happens is this woman walks up and she's one of the last people there and she's kind of hovering a little bit. And she said, can you tell me something about the book? And I said, what's your name? And she told me and I started signing a book for her. She said, oh, no. She said, I'm not going to get it right now. I said, yes, you are. This is a gift from me. And I signed the book and I handed it to her and she burst out into tears. And I said, hey, it's okay. It's just a little book, it's not a big deal. Because I could tell she obviously couldn't afford it. And she said, oh my God, I swear I'll read it. I swear I'll apply this. She said, my husband left me and I have these 4 kids. And she started crying. She opened her wallet and she showed me all her kids. And she was so emotional. And then her little boy came up. And I said, hey, how's it going? And I picked him up, put him in my lap like I was Santa, I started talking to him. And we had this great conversation. And I really just comforted her. I said, you know what? You got to come to my seminar tonight. Because I'm going to show you some things right away. I mean, the book's great. You got to come to the seminar. You come as my guest tonight. I said, it's a free seminar anyway. But when I come back, you come to the 3-day seminar as my guest. And then she cried again. I said, no, don't cry. It'll be great. It'll be wonderful. And, and then what happened was she left, and then I started to cry. And the reason I started to cry is because I realized that I was so busy doing all this stuff to change the world and trying to accomplish everything and be the perfect guy on stage who could help everybody, that I'd lost a part of myself up until that day. I'd forgotten what my life was really about. I was so into all the to-dos. I wasn't being. And in that moment, as I started to cry, I just thought, thank you, God. This is what I'm about. This is who I am. And I've never lost that feeling since that day. And if you've ever lost that feeling, I hope you get it back right now. Reach inside and think about, what are you really about? That's what I spent these 10 days with you about, was to give you the tools so that you can spend more time with you, being you at your best, you when your heart's open, you when you're being fun. And I left there and I was just so emotionally moved, and the guy was so grateful, and got in the car in the limousine, and the limo driver and I are like best buds. I'm instead of sitting way in the back, I'm sitting up front with him. I said, come on, let's go, James. And we're laughing. Had such a great time. I went and did my little guest event. It went really well. I was funny and playful, and everybody signed up because, they felt connected to me because I was a guy. I wasn't some person pontificating, and it didn't matter if they signed up. I had a great time with everybody that was there. And the lady I talked to showed up and we connected again. And it was just wonderful. And so I walked by the front desk and tapped Bambi on the nose, said, hey, bud, at least you're undercover. It's not cold in here. And I got on the elevator, and as soon as I got on the elevator, there's this lady there. I don't know how old she was, maybe early 40s or something, but she looked older because she was all kind of crumpled up. And when I walked on the elevator, you could see that she was a little intimidated, And so I pushed my button for the 4th floor, and I think she'd pushed the 3rd floor, if I remember right. And then the doors closed, and I thought, be playful. So all of a sudden I spun around right in the middle of the elevator, just shocked her. And I looked at her and I said, you're probably wondering why I called this meeting with you, aren't you? And she looked at me, and then all of a sudden she kind of looked shocked, and then I smiled and started to laugh, and then she started to smile and started to laugh, and I said, what's your name? And she said, Betty. And I said, I'm Tony, Betty. And we're going up the elevator. No. We're not even to the 1st floor yet. This elevator is the stupidest elevator in the world, right? And I said, well, what you doing here? She said, well, I came here so my children could swim. I said, swim? She goes, yeah, well, it's winter out, so I come here sometimes, and I bring them for a day. I save up my money, and I go shopping a little bit, and I let them swim in the pool. I said, what a great mom you are. I said, that's so awesome. We get to the 3rd floor, and we're about to go, and she says, what floor are you on? I said, I'm on the 4th floor. She said, well, I'll follow you up. I want to finish our conversation. And so we talked for another couple of minutes, and we get to the 4th floor, and I said, what floor are you on? She said, the 3rd floor. I said, you know what? I think I'll walk you to the 3rd floor so we can finish our conversation. And we go down to the 3rd floor, and I walk her to her room, and I give her this little kiss on the cheek, and she just beams, and I said, you are an awesome mom. You're amazing. And I said, your kids must absolutely adore you. She goes, well, it's not just my kids. She goes, I got my sister's kids too. I said, you're amazing. I said, I hope our paths cross again. And then I got on the elevator, and I went up, and I went to the presidential suite, and I dove into the shag carpeting and rolled around and laughed and said, this is the day I got my life back. This is the day when I remember what it's all about. And that's the day that turned my life around. The day I created a code of conduct. And so I changed some of the emotions, but you know what? You got to decide how you're going to be. Write down your outcomes and write down part of your purpose. And some of it is to be a certain way. Think about the roles you're going to play in your life now and really enjoy them. And then if you do that, then I'll know the time we spent here was amazingly valuable. Because what it really was about you taking control of your life and you deciding what you want to spend your focus on, your emotion on, your life on. Because time will go by. 10 years will go by in no time. You'll wake up one day and say, where did the time go? And I want to make sure that when you look back on those 10 years, you're filled with the joy of knowing you shaped those 10 years. You shaped that decade. It was your vision that shaped it, not the reaction to the environment. And so I want to thank you. I want to thank you for spending this time with me, and I hope that when you turn off this tape that you'll make your code of conduct. You'll make a list of states and write the word be in front of each of them. Each day I'm committed to being loving, being nice, being playful, being sexy, being fun, being whatever it is you're going to be, and come up with only a number of emotions, 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or 12 maximum, that you're willing to look at every day and say, have I been that way? And put it in the front of your book, right next to your driving force. Because if you put yourself in these states every day, I promise you, if you be the best you can be, you'll do what's right. See, I didn't have to think about handing that book to the woman. It wasn't a big deal. I was being who I am. I didn't have to think on the elevator, what should I do? What's my strategy here? What action list should I get? I just spontaneously did what was right. When you're in the right state, you'll do what's right. So make up your list. And thank you. Thank you for giving me 10 days of your life. I've enjoyed it immensely. I hope that for you, this is the beginning of the journey and not the end. I hope for you that I've inspired you to remember what's most important. I hope I've inspired you to decide to get a master's degree in managing your own life. That's really what this is. And boy, I'll tell you what, knowing how to run that life not only effectively, but enjoyably is a great gift, isn't it? And hey, you're brand new at it. Be nice to yourself. You use this planner, you take it with you everywhere and start getting things out of your head. Guess what? All that pressure that makes you feel like you have no time, you're going to see a lot of that disappear. And as you increase your capacity, you'll probably increase what you go for in life. And then you'll get stressed again. So you have to get better at it. Increase your capacity again. But this is a never-ending journey. A journey in which you can experience greater results, as I told you in the first tape, and greater fulfillment than you ever dreamed of. All I can hope for is that you'll apply what we've talked about and that you listen to this program again and again so that you let it sink in. And that more importantly than listen to the tapes or listen to me, that you'll go and make this happen, that you'll round out your life, that on a weekly basis you'll do that hour of power, or more than an hour if necessary, to really put your life in balance, and that you'll make sure that you're not perfect, but that you're making progress. Because I think achievement is less important than direction. What direction are you heading? Because if you keep heading in the right direction, ultimately you're going to get your dream or something better. A lot of times in my life, I had goals, I had outcomes, and I didn't achieve them. But I kept moving in the right direction, and you know what? It's like our Creator guides us to something even better. If we're willing to trust that, if we're willing to demand from ourselves, if we keep our standards up, if we keep our faith, if we keep our vision, if we keep focusing on what really matters instead of getting caught up in the world. You know, my journey began at 17 years old, sitting in a little room, feeling sorry for myself. And to think that in that one day, my whole life was going to change. You know what did it? Deciding what I really wanted and why I wanted it. Getting a new vision. Getting determined. I heard a song, and the song was an old song by Neil Diamond. It was called I Am, I Said. I remember being in that room, feeling bad, feeling sorry for myself, and the song came on, I Am, I Said, and no one heard, not even the chair. And I looked across at this blank little chair in my little tiny room, and I started to cry, and then something inside me went from just feeling sorry for myself to being determined. I thought, who I am as a man is not showing up. God has put me here on this planet, and I am not demonstrating who I am mentally and emotionally and physically and spiritually. I'm here for a purpose. I've got to do something. I got to figure out how to step up and turn this around. And I tapped into that determination and that faith, and I found my courage, and I went out and figured out how to manage my life. And so today, 20 years later, I can have this conversation with you. I tell you this because I know your life is far from where mine was back then. But the journey I've taken of these 20 years has been an extraordinary one, and the journey of the next 20, 30, or 40 will be even more so. So I thank you for this time, and I thank you for giving that 17-year-old boy a voice. And I hope it's moved you to step up now and make your life the masterpiece it deserves to be. Thank you, and I part with you with a paraphrase of an old quote that I'm sure you remember. Don't follow me, for I am not your leader. And do not lead me, because I will not follow you. But please, walk beside me now and be my friend. I hope to have the chance to meet you someday soon at a seminar or somewhere in the world. Till then, remember the gifts that you've been given. You have all the time there is. Use it well, and each day remember to live with passion. God bless.